Tier 4, led by Travis Hunter, DK Metcalf in his new home in Pittsburgh, Zay Flowers. Jay, you're high on Jaylen Waddle. We'll get to that in a second. Rashee Rice, because the incoming suspension, that's going to play a big part. Otherwise, we would have talked about Rashee Rice in the last segment. Emeka Egbuka, who's been on the rise, especially with Chris Godwin out. Jacoby Myers, who's in the news. We'll talk more about that as well with the potential trade request. Rome Odunze, former top 10 pick, looking for a big year too. Ricky Pearsall expected to gobble up a lot of the targets out of wide receivers in San Francisco. And then the round one wide receiver in Green Bay, Matthew Golden.
Yeah, just a lot of guys here that are really interesting. I think there's some real nice upside here. We'll talk about Waddle in a second. I love Travis Hunter. I've talked about this before. I think he's going to have a monster year. Buccaneers third in wide receiver fantasy points last year under Liam Cohen. We've talked about how much draft capital they give up to go get Travis Hunter, first-year GM, first-year head coach. If nothing else, he needs to work. It was the same argument I made for Malik Neighbors last year. Yeah. People were like, oh, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, whatever. And I'm just like, guys, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are fighting for their jobs, and they drafted Malik Neighbors early. If nothing else happens in New York last year, Malik Neighbors needs to work. And what happened, obviously, Malik Neighbors worked in a massive way. Travis Hunter is going to get every opportunity this year to be a force on both sides of the ball, but specifically when he's on offense, like he's not running wind sprints. When he's out there, he's going to get targets. It doesn't matter about the amount of snaps he gets. It matters how many targets he gets and how many looks he's get, and he's going to get a lot. He needs to work as well. We've talked about Egbuka quite a bit on this show. But Jay, I'm with you. I think people are sleeping on Jaylen Waddle.
I'm old enough to remember in 2022 when Jaylen Waddle had over 1,350 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. By the way, 1,350 receiving yards, how many guys do that? Last year, the only 2 players in the NFL who topped that were Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
Right.
And I get that, yeah, Dolphins had a down year across the board, bad years for Waddle, Tyreek Hill. Like, Tyreek Hill's on the other side of 30 and his speed fell off. It makes sense why he would decline. Jaylen Waddle's like 26. Like, right. This shouldn't be the end for Jaylen Waddle. He's banged up. Feels like he's been banged up the past couple of years. Seems like he's coming into camp healthier. He's got the upside of a healthier tour year than last year, and I think that he could emerge as the number 1 guy in a Mike McDaniel offense.
The other thing we're forgetting here is that last year Jonnu Smith had an almost 20% target share, and now obviously Jonnu Smith now in Pittsburgh, and they haven't. I mean, we'll see with Darren Waller, but we'll see with Darren Waller. But the fact is, it's not like they brought in a high-priced free agent or an early draft pick wide receiver. Right. There's not an obvious person on the Dolphins roster right now where you're like, oh, where does that 19% target share go? I think it's going to be distributed between Waddle and Hill and Achane out of the backfield. You'll see some Malik Washington, and we'll see what you get out of Waller. But honestly, it's going to be those guys.
Yeah, also, Connor, they don't have any defensive players left. The whole defense is injured. There's good defensive line, but
they'll be able to get after the quarterback.
Yeah, but if they don't, then the secondary is in big trouble, so there's going to be a lot of explosives. I think this team is going to be playing from behind a lot, throwing a lot. I just think that a high-volume Mike McDaniel offense where Jaylen Waddle could be the number 1 guy. This guy, I think he could easily be a top 15 wide receiver.
2 of the guys on this list made the hate list this year. Zay Flowers, not because he's bad. Zay Flowers is great, but he's more of a floor guy than an upside guy. Only 7 red zone targets last year. Only 7 when you think about how good Zay Flowers is. And, of course, as we've talked about, they've got the tight ends and Andrew likely when he comes back. They've got DeAndre Hopkins. They've got Rashad Bateman who came on. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson always a threat at the goal line. We think Keaton Mitchell will have a bigger role this year. So just nervous about the upside of Zay Flowers. But I'm curious, Connor, your thoughts on DK Metcalf. He also made the hate list. And part of my argument was because what I think this offense is going to look like under Arthur Smith. You saw Aaron Rodgers up close last year every game for the Jets.
He just doesn't push the ball down the field anymore, and isn't that the value in large part of DK Metcalf? And he will, because he has to. They paid DK all that money. Obviously, he's the guy there after they move on from Pickens. But it's just not the way Rodgers is interested in playing anymore. And if he does it the first month of the season, that's great. After he started to get hit last year, a lot of that went away. There was flashes with the big pass to Devontae Adams against Jacksonville. You could remember the moments because they were so few and far between. So I think they're going to throw to the tight ends a lot. They're going to run the ball a lot. And DK, you're going to be living on the big play. And there'll be weeks you don't get that big play. And that's a big price to pay for a guy that gives you some weeks of honestly nothing. 2 for 25-yard kind of
I'm
weeks.
lower on him than consensus. I have almost no shares of DK Metcalf.
Yeah. I guess the pushback would be who else?
Yeah, that's the argument.
Roman
but it's Arthur
Wilson?
Smith. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, Robert. It's going to be interesting. Just
Robert Woods released.
Yeah, sorry.
But he was released today.
Doesn't matter.
By the way, breaking news, who knew Robert Woods was on the Steelers?
Yes.
Cam Akers got
found
released
out.
by the Saints yesterday. as well,
Yeah, exactly.
Pertinent news. Yeah, I think that one of the most interesting macro things about the season is just like, is Aaron Rodgers going to relent on his Aaron Rodgers-ness a bit? Because here's what Arthur Smith likes to do. Likes to use motion, likes to snap the ball early in the play clock, likes to run the ball a ton. You know what Aaron Rodgers likes to do? Likes to throw the ball a ton. Likes no motion. Likes to snap the ball later than anyone on the play clock. So there's just interesting tension. I don't know. Maybe he went to New York and had such a bad couple of years that he has decided to change a little bit. But I don't think the guy's changed that much at 41.
Here's everything you just said. Here's my example of it. So they move Hackett away from play calling last year. Shocking. And they give Todd Downing the keys. They play Buffalo at home. The offense starts doing all those things. Motion, misdirection, good usage of Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. You're sitting there and you're like, finally, I've been waiting for this. After that 1 week of Downing doing that, they never did it again the rest of the season. It was static. It was an old, aged-out offense. That's what you get with him because he has the keys, and he's earned that at what he's done in his reputation around the league. But I'm not buying in. I can't buy in again.
And I will tell you, we've talked about this. I think you are going to be shocked. I think the regulars, maybe I'll get back in your good graces with this one. I think the regulars will be shocked and annoyed by how much Jonnu Smith touches the ball in the Steelers offense this year. Like, again.
Or happy because they took him
Or happy because they took him late. I'm telling you, like, I actually think Jonnu has a good year this year. This guy was a top 5 fantasy tight end last year, and I get it. It's a very different system, but, like, Arthur Smith loves him some Jonnu Smith. There's not a lot of competition for targets. Like, I think there's a scenario where Jonnu Smith is second on this team in targets, receptions, yards, receiving touchdowns.
Sure, it's Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin.
Right, Pat Fryermuth. Like, whatever. Like, I mean, you know, Jonnu Smith is more athletic than a lot of those guys.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.